The next few hours were a blur. My cousin, Tom, went to the neighbor's house to retrieve my parents. They called the police and led me from my room, where I had been standing and staring at the decomposing head of my best friend. I sat on the couch in our living room while the police did their thing. I know they asked me questions, but I don't remember what they were or if I even answered them. I was breaking down. I thought that, minus my missing best friend, everything was over and on its way to getting back to normal. I was so wrong. It was just the beginning. The police searched for the culprits, but the elusive trio were crafty. There was a squad car parked outside of my house around the clock, but that didn't stop them. 2 days after Sam's head came crashing through my bedroom window, I received a letter in the mail. It read, "I hope you like the present I left you. Here's something else to remember your friend." And there were several fingernails caked in dried blood in the envelope. The phone would ring in the middle of the night, and whoever answered would either hear heavy breathing or demented laughter. The police were eventually able to trace the calls to a payphone at a bus station in the next town over. They had officers watch the phone, but whoever made the calls stopped using it. My parents and I went to stay with my grandmother, thinking that my tormentor either couldn't or wouldn't find us an hour away from our hometown. We were proved wrong when an arm was left on the front porch with the words, "Having fun yet?" carved into its skin. It didn't take long for me to figure out. They had let me go, sparing me the physical torture that Sam had gone through, so that they could fuck with me mentally. It was working. I thought about killing myself so that I wouldn't have to worry about finding another piece of my friend every morning. I thought about doing it so that my family didn't have to share the constant terror. The only thing that stopped me was the idea of my self-inflicted demise not stopping the physiological warfare being waged on my family. A letter with a photo of a man wearing a mask violating what was left of Sam was the last straw. I waited till my family was asleep, 2 days after the photo was delivered, before I quietly climbed out of the window of the bathroom in the motel we had relocated to. I brought the knife my father insisted that I start carrying to protect myself, though I still hadn't figured out if I was going to fight or just accept my fate and let them kill me. I stayed hidden while I traveled until I was far enough from the cop stationed outside our room for him to not notice it was me. Then I purposely walked out in the open, my hood now down to reveal my face, all around town. I wanted them to find me. The longer I walked, the angrier I became. I decided that I would use the knife when they caught me. Even if I didn't take any of them down, I was determined to at least seriously injure one of them. They deserved it, for everything they did to Sam and my family and me. I wandered the town for about an hour before a rusty van screeched to a stop next to me. The man who beheaded Sam jumped out and tried to grab me, but the knife was in my hand. A swift upward thrust into his chin, and one of my 3 problems was eradicated. I heard the woman scream and get out of the van. She barely glanced at the man choking and dying on the ground while she ran at me. She started pounding on me, and I started slashing at her. While we struggled and she bled, the clown, sans makeup, but I knew it was him, got out of the driver's seat and came at me as well. I felt his huge fist strike the side of my head, and I went down like a ton of bricks. I was stunned, but I had managed not to drop my knife. I got up to my knees and drove my knife into his thigh as he tried to wrestle me into the vehicle. He screamed and fell, and I ran. I heard the clatter of my knife falling to the ground, followed by 2 sets of feet pounding on the pavement behind me. I made it about 2 blocks before I was tackled to the ground. I kicked and screamed and threw blind punches as the clown dragged me back to the idling van. He was trying to throw me into the back when the police car surrounded us. Someone had heard or saw the attempted abduction and called 911. After a brief standoff between the now duo, their 3rd companion was cold and motionless on the sidewalk, and 8 officers who were threatening to shoot. My nightmare was over. The woman collapsed on the street, bawling and begging for mercy. The clown pushed me toward the police and tried to run, but a few shots rang out and he fell to the sidewalk and was promptly swarmed by any cop who wasn't tending to me or the woman. A bullet had hit him in the shoulder and another in the same leg I had stabbed, but he survived the wounds and was allowed to rot inside a jail instead of a grave. This October, it will be 6 years since my nightmare started. My therapist told me that I should write down everything I remember in an attempt to get it off my chest and hopefully help me get some sleep. I still barely sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see a dirty clown with a knife coming after me. I decided to share my story with you so that you can be careful the next time you enter a house of horrors or any attraction like it. The horrors inside might just be real, and they might follow you home.